Police have charged a fourth suspect in connection with the robbery of Burger King's Cable Beach restaurant 2 Saturdays ago. It's alleged that on November 26, 27-year-old West Avenue resident Tony Newbold conspired with others to commit armed robbery and then followed through on the plan, robbing the Cable Beach restaurant at gunpoint of some $1,719. Newbold was not required to plead to the charges and was remanded to prison. A voluntary bill of indictment will be filed on February 15th of next year. Following the arraignment, Newbold's attorney, Ramona Farquharson Seymour, complained that her client had not been fed while in police custody and was denied his painkillers. She also indicated that the 27-year-old was scheduled to return to hospital on December 15th to have his staples removed from his stomach, and the court ordered that he be taken to hospital to have the procedure done. Newbold was shot by police and hospitalized after he and his alleged accomplices led police on a high-speed chase following the heist. Now, those alleged accomplices, 18-year-old Dwaynette Taylor, Kadeem Bain, and Stephen Taylor, both 20 years old, were arraigned last week on those charges, and they've been remanded to prison. Air traffic controllers are taking industrial action, hoping to force more attention to be paid to what they say are unsafe working conditions and stalled contract talks. The union's actions could potentially cripple operations at the Lyndon Pinling International Airport. Fern Carey talks with the union president about how far the union is prepared to go to ensure that their demands are met.
The Bahamas Air Traffic Controllers Union instructing its members to withdraw their services immediately over what they say are pressing issues, among them health and safety concerns due to working in a building that has reportedly been condemned. Union President Roscoe Papal claims employees implemented a self-help program to clean and restore the facility. However, he says it's still in a state of disrepair and he's calling on the government to intervene.
Today, the air traffic facility is still damage as a result of Hurricane Irene, and after the hurricane we could have not occupied the facility, but we asked our members, even with the roof torn off, to return to work so that the Bahamian public and those persons on the family island needing necessary emergency attention could have received that attention uninterrupted. Today the facility is in a state of disrepair. However, we continue to work.
Air traffic controllers are also concerned about stalled contract negotiations as the industrial agreement expired back in 2008.
The government of the Bahamas, the current F&M government, owes this union an obligation because of its faithfulness to conclude this contract. There are not many items that are outstanding. A small salary package is to be resolved. But the government, even in this economic time, we were tolerant, willing to work with them.
Meantime, Papal says they will pull out all the stops in order to have their outstanding issues addressed.
First action that we would implement, if not addressed immediately, we have put a proposal to our department to restore a night shift system that is more feasible for the controllers to work in, that would address the fatigue management within air traffic control. If management do not address itself to that by weekend, right, we would implement provisions that would cause the Nassau International Airport to discontinue the 24-hour operation. That's by this weekend.
Fern Carey, ZNS News.
Now, we did reach out to Labor Minister Dion Fowles. However, we were unable to contact him on this matter. Possible industrial action is brewing at the Sandals Resort. Trade Union Congress officials reportedly met with labor officials today, seeking to have 12 officers dismissed, reportedly over union-related activities, reinstated. The TUC was also hoping to have a number of other issues resolved. However, President Obi Ferguson says the meeting didn't go as planned, and he had this to say to the Sandals employees.
Sandals came in obviously not prepared to negotiate. They took the position that the trade dispute was never filed on them. But we made it very clear to the ministry that the Minister of Labor, the Honorable Dion Fowles, the Registrar of Trade Unions, Mr. Harcourt Brown, took the position that the maintenance union was not registered, and as a result there could be no dispute.
In other news, the Antiquities, Monuments and Museum Amendment Bill was debated in the upper chamber this morning. The bill is expected to pave the way for the possibility of a new industry in the Bahamas. It aims to regulate a practice that the country has been losing out on for years. Janaea Noel Ferguson explains.
It could prove to be a potential moneymaker for the Bahamas and open up a new business opportunity once proper regulations are put in place to guide salvagers wanting to cash in on underwater treasure of the Bahamas. According to mover of the bill, Senator the Honorable Dion Folks, the bill aims to allow the government to monitor and control what salvagers are looking for and also what they find.
The Bahamas government issued some 71 permits for salvaging in the Bahamas. 46 of these permits made no recoveries. Many of those that made recoveries did not give the Bahamas their fair share.
In 1999, a moratorium was put on salvaging, which is still in effect, but that could all change under this law. Treasure hunters would have to give the Bahamas 25% of their profit. Senator Dr. Dwayne Sands added that the bill allows us to become compliant with international conventions.
At the same time, there's a phenomenal Bahamian cultural heritage which exists under the water. And this cultural heritage has been looted because it is recognized to be increasingly valuable, particularly as the technology for diving and salvage has improved.
Meanwhile, Senator Michael Darville, while in support of the bill, said it could present some challenges as we do not have the proper financial and human resources to properly police the vast Bahamian waters.
Facing this harsh reality, we must once again ask ourselves, where is the financial commitment by the government and the manpower resources necessary for enforcement of these important amendments?
He also suggested that Bahamians be given the freedom to participate.
I believe if a Bahamian wants to go into our waters to look for treasure, I think he should be able to do that free of charge.
Now, items recovered that are deemed valuable to our cultural identity, the bill allows for those items to be retained. Janaea Noel Ferguson, ZNS News.
Well, it's that time again. The Junkanoo season kicks off tomorrow with the annual ESO Junior Junkanoo Parade on downtown Nassau. Here to talk about what's in store this year is Assistant Director of Culture and Junkanooer at Heart, Mr. Fast Eddie Dames. Good evening, Mr. Dames. How are you?
Good evening. How are you doing?
All right, I'm doing great. Tell me about tomorrow. Are you excited?
Well, we've got 16 schools that will be participating in tomorrow evening's parade. We have 4 of the primary schools. As a matter of fact, 6 primary schools and 4 of the preschools. And we have 6 senior schools, which is going to be most exciting. We've been able to improve that category tremendously over last year. And of course, we have some surprises in that lineup for you. The parade will be held in honor of Mrs. Pamela Chandler, who has been one of the persons taking part in the program from the inception. And so we're going to honor her this year as a coordinator over the years.
All right, Mr. Dames, I also want to ask you about the Family Island participation. I know you've been going around to the islands for about 17 years now. I'm trying to organize junior parades there. But who's coming to Nassau this year? Who should we be looking for?
Well, remember last year we had North Andros and Spanish Wells. This year, Spanish Wells, after the hurricane, was not able to return. But we have South Andros. All the schools in South Andros have decided to combine as a district and participate in the parade here in New Providence along with North Andros. And so we expect that Andros will be well represented, and they are certainly excited. North Andros have just arrived about 15 minutes ago, and South Andros is riding around in the bus in Nassau, getting ready and creating the spirit for tomorrow evening's event.
You were telling me how hyped they are, so where can excited fans get tickets? Tell me about the ticket sales for junior and senior parades and
well, we expect that the bleachers would be filled tomorrow evening. Tickets are on sale at the Kendall Isaacs Gym, also at Mario's Bowling Center. And of course, the parade kicks off at 6 p.m. So we'd hope that everyone have their tickets in time. Note on the ticket exactly the area that you will be required to enter into the whole parade venue. So we'd have an easement of seating. Rawson Square tickets are $20, all other areas are $10. And outside of Rawson Square, there'll be open seating. And so just go and get your tickets and make sure, come on out and support this national event.
All right, thanks so much, Mr. Dames. Again, the Junior Junkanoo Parade starting at 6 p.m. tomorrow. We'll have live coverage on the ZNS television and radio networks starting at 8 o'clock. Well, it's time now for your business report. Here's Altavis Munnings.
Welcome to tonight's edition of the Business Beat, sponsored by Royal Fidelity. Good evening, Bahamas. I'm Altavis Munnings. Let's take a look at what's making business news today. Kalina Holdings netting a profit of some $1.3 million up to September this year, with second quarter results affected by the reduction in the Bahamian prime rate. This compares to $11.4 million or $0.46 per ordinary share for the same period in 2010. According to Kalina Holdings statements, the company's total assets were $548 million as of September 30th this year, compared to last year's total figure of $525 million. Scotiabank's new managing director, Kevin Teslick, expecting to grow the bank's private banking and wealth management arm next year. With a national economic prediction of 1 to 2.5% next year, Mr. Teslick is hoping to surpass next year's financial forecasts. He told reporters during a media luncheon at Scotiabank's Bay Street headquarters Monday that the Bahamas is faring well financially than other jurisdictions in the region. Two directors received the first annual Bahamian Emerging Filmmaker Award, courtesy of RBC Royal Bank, at the closing ceremony of the 2011 Bahamas International Film Festival. Director Karen Arthur was the winner in the feature-length category for the documentary film about the life of Bahamian artist Amos Ferguson. Director Tyler Johnson was named the winner in the short film category for directing the film 5 Bones. It's about a group of underprivileged children finding joy and entertainment by building kites out of the most basic materials. From the international business scene, U.S. banking giant Citigroup has said it's expecting to cut 4,500 jobs worldwide in an effort to reduce its costs. The group has put aside $400 million to pay for the cuts. It's the latest in a string of global banks to announce cuts as a slowdown in the world economy and the European sovereign debt crisis has increased pressure on banks to limit costs. And in regional business, Trinidad and Tobago will strengthen its financial sector, supervisory and regulatory framework with a $50 million loan from the Inter-American Development Bank. The IDB's program will focus on reinforcing macroeconomic stability to minimize the impact of exposure to any future vulnerability or systemic crisis. Remember, you can send us an email or join us on www.znsbahamas.com or become our friend on ZNS's official Facebook page. And that will end tonight's edition of the Business Beat, sponsored by Royal Fidelity. Thanks so much for watching. I'm Altavis.